welcome to my Almost Nightly podcast. I'm Daryl Everidge. I have the pleasure of sitting down again with one of my favorite mayors of all time, Mayor of Monroe, Georgia, John Howard. Well, Mayor Howard, it's been a little while since we've sat down and had a conversation. Let's get right into it. Tell us a little bit about what's going on, what's happening right now in Monroe.
Saturday morning, we have the grand opening of Sweetberry. It is in the location of the former Butcher Block, which was a generational mainstay for us. And when they moved, as with every business or office, they needed some updating and renovating. And the team from Sweetberry came in. They put in new flooring. They've decorated the place very nicely, very clean. And their food is fantastic. They do smoothies, breakfast bowls. They do wraps for lunch, and frankly, I don't know their what time they close every day, because the grand opening is coming up. I've eaten there in a couple of soft openings. One time I was there from at 7 o'clock in the evening, and one time I was there for their ribbon cutting at 10 a.m. So it's just really, really good food, and it's very helpful too. So that's our newest store, and then we also our newest location downtown, and then we have transfer of ownership coming for Silver Queen. I know it's under contract. I can't announce who until it actually closes, but it is another restaurant group, so we're excited about that. In the addition to Wayne Street, that when I was a kid, we were Broad Street, and we were Broad Street from Highland Avenue to Washington, and then of course Hardee's was a little bit further down, and there was no CVS or Walgreens at the time. Since I became mayor, we have expanded down Highland with Lisa Reynolds, Lisa Anderson, and Wayne, which was Silver Queen, but also now Sanders Consign and Design and the Brown Fig, which is great. We have Chad Draper has bought the building that used to house our police department. And he's got some plans that are coming for that we should probably see in the next month or so at Planning Commission and Council. And we're moving with our Livable Cities Initiative, basically mirroring what we did with our sidewalks and lighting. Hopefully take the power underground on Wayne Street here in the next couple of years. That's exciting. Moving to the west side of downtown. Of course, you saw the facelift of Scoops in the Story Shop, but then you move back a block and you have the former livery stables, which I didn't even know existed when I was a kid. I mean, it just wasn't an area. It was used as, I believe, storage for the Walton Tribune. That became Southern Brewing, and then the livery stables became event space for the Wayfair. L.R. Burger, of course, we had the revolving loan fund where Chris Collin came in and took the former gas station and made it into a really cool, hip hamburger place. And Strange Taco, which is just out of this world fantastic. And if you haven't been, I definitely recommend going. But the backside of Strange Taco is the new wing place, High Voltage Wings. So you kind of think we have enough food until you realize that everybody eats out all the time. So we're rocking and rolling with our downtown. Moving out from town, YMCA, you should see starting to go vertical. I think the plan for that is October. They've cleared 38 acres, and that's just up from our Anytown USA. You come into downtown, and you have shops and businesses and restaurants that are all sole proprietors, individually owned, and then you get out to the Publix shopping center area, and there's where you have your Ross, your Marshalls, Rack Room Shoes, Ulta Beauty, Planet Fitness is out there, and what a burger. We did the groundbreaking on that almost a month ago, I guess. when we announce that we're doing something, for instance, the downtown green, I can talk about it in just a minute. We're always at the whims of the weather. We understand that there are supply chain issues and the way things work. But Whataburger has said, come hell or high water, they are opening November 20th. So I wish them the best of luck, but I'm excited. I'm really excited to try one.
You know, we've seen a lot of cleanup in a lot of houses with renovations over in the Mill Village area. Is there any plans for the city to do the same type of renovations and cleanup over on North Broad Street, like behind Church's Chicken?
I can only imagine, yes, there's going to be, and none of that is city owned. But just the way the world works, when things become successful, prices go up a little bit. People tend to get rid of some of the properties that could see better years, and then investors are going to come in and do some building. We have Brad Callender's our planner, and it is the one struggle that I have with our surrounding areas. Gwinnett County just grew and blew out, and they did wall-to-wall sewer and sprawl, and not really a very good economic development model. We have the sewer in the city, and we've capped that at the city limits. So we want our density in town, but I want Gratis to remain Gratis. I want Good Hope to remain Good Hope. The county is in charge of county developments and planning, and they allow what they allow based on who comes in and wants to buy things and put in neighborhoods or buildings or whatever. However they come about their decisions, that's fine. We have Brad Callender, who's brilliant at it, and I've looked at his docket yesterday. He had 3 meetings with people who want to put in multifamily, and I don't want to see the face of Monroe change overnight. We have 241 units that we've approved on Aycock Avenue, which is our workforce housing, right out near Piedmont Industrial Park. And I would be good with that. Once that gets built, we might need to review some more. I don't know that this council has the stomach for a lot of multifamily, but we certainly have the stomach for improvement, and in our next area of improvement needs to be that North Broad corridor.
A few weeks ago, the city of Monroe posted on Facebook that they were not going to accept any new cable customers, and that they were eventually going to cut the cable completely out, and then the city is only going to offer fiber optic internet. What are your thoughts on that?
Here's the way it works. Cable, I will tell you right now, if I could get rid of it tomorrow, I would. It loses money for our taxpayers, and they don't need to be responsible for losing money ever. Technology's come so far that we have our cable system, and it is inferior. But we have to keep it because generally it's the older population that likes to keep their cable. My folks love knowing what's going on 25.5, and they have that channel 2 that lists everything. But I think my age is the age group. We either still have cable or we have cut the cord, and I'm one of those who cut the cord and have Hulu. I get it on my phone, on my tablet, on my computer, on my television, and it's $65 a month. College students and younger, they watch YouTube. They don't want to see the same thing that I saw as a kid, which was every day we could come home from school and see the Brady Bunch and Father Knows Best and Leave It to Beaver and even the Flintstones, and then Saturday nights you had Love Boat Fantasy Island, which was of course following Worldwide Wrestling, and then we would play the national anthem, everybody go to bed at midnight. And that's just not the way it's done. But we are rolling out our fiber, and we should hit 2,000 fiber subscribers or fiber customers. Customer seems a little, it's like an inferior word, clients, because we do want to provide the absolute best service. And when you're on fiber, it is very reliable, It's very cost affordable. And then you can watch Hulu or YouTube TV or whatever you want to watch. You can just stream it. So young people are not adding cable. It is a dying business. And even the technologically advanced elderly love the streaming. They don't want cable anymore. But it's something that we have to offer as long as our fiber is not rolled out to a point that makes it acceptable to drop it.
If you've been down Church Street, we've all seen that beautiful town green that's coming together pretty quick. One question I think everybody's asking is, where is everyone going to park?
Event parking is always tough, and we are an event, and we're an event city, and we are a festival town. Day-to-day parking, there'll be plenty. There are 30 spaces or so that are right on the downtown green from Church Street and on Madison. We have 842 city parking spaces within blocks of the area. Like a Christmas parade, you just find somewhere to park. We have a bit of a walking problem. We don't have a parking problem. When folks, for instance, say they want to go to When Pigs Fly, which is well worth a walk, and then they get mad that they can't park in the 6 spaces that are right out front. No matter where we would build a parking deck, and that is not on the list right now, no matter where we would build a parking deck, you're going to have to walk from it. So a space for, when you put in a parking deck right now, one space costs about $30,000. No matter where you put it, you're not getting the spaces right in front of your pie. And it's nice. It's a beautiful town. It's a great place to walk. And if you park, for instance, at the Arts Center or at the bank, you can walk down Activity Alley. We try to make things interesting and safe for people to get in and around the city to go places that are attractive.
If you've traveled down Broad Street at all lately, you have noticed this big, giant house under construction. So I've gotten people ask, whose house is that?
That's Daniel and Lindsay South. They own the Row, which, if you've not been to the Row, you've missed something. It is just outstanding quality, service. The food is out of this world. Great bar, great setup, and in the truck route, by the way, which I'm guessing you were going to ask about, started clearing last week. So 2 years, I think it's 26 months construction. When that gets the 2,000 trucks a day out of town, that makes that Monroe or the Row bar space that much better, because it'll just be much quieter. The plan for me, and I talked with Matthew Chansey about this when we did the charrettes with planners 12, 13 years ago. Can't we make this one way and just grass over Broad Street right downtown? And he's, of course, and Logan and I both agree, once the truck route goes through, we can close off downtown, but grassing it over is just never going to be an option, which is fine. It's just, you want it to be nice, you want it to be quiet, you want it to be safe. And you see, when we have our downtown concerts at the courthouse and we close the streets, kids are everywhere. It's because it's a safe hometown feel, which is every parent's dream. However, if you own one of those businesses, you are definitely going to want to have some of your folks park right in front to pick up packages or whatever. So I don't know that we ever go full-time closing it, but I would imagine that we close it at 6 o'clock on Fridays and not open again until 5 a.m. Monday. One of the things that I really admire about our team, and when I say our team, I mean from Stacy Jones when she was downtown development, Carrie Bailey, Emily Russell, Leanne and Sadie, that they have all done such a fantastic job with our events. And if you think about it, I just got the numbers last week that we were running over 20,000 people for our Christmas parade. We ran 20,000 people for our car show. We have consistently on our concerts been 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people, which is I'm just proud because they're so well done, and it is a slice of Americana, right? You want to go to a place where you feel safe, and the people are nice, and the quality environment is very good, and you feel you have that comfort in knowing that we're all alike, right? We want quality, and we don't want to have to drive to Atlanta, and we don't want to have to drive to Athens. And frankly, I see weaknesses in Atlanta and Athens every time I go. We all have our certain issues, but I feel a whole lot more comfortable downtown Monroe than ever previously. And then you're comparing us to areas. The reason we're growing is because folks want to be here. I talked to a fella, and pardon me to all the Georgia Bulldog fans who are listening. I talked to a fella last week who's a big Auburn fan, and he wants to buy a place down there. And I said, I've never seen a college or university that attracts people back to campus or the area like I do with Auburn. And he said, if you look at Saturdays Down South, it gave one word description of every town in the SEC. Gainesville, Florida was hopeful, which is great because that's where I graduated. Ole Miss is Southern. Alabama was unrealistic. University of Georgia was bark, which of course is the Bulldog thing. But Auburn's was Jesus. That 80% of their student body goes to church. And he said, if you look at it, he said that's why Monroe's so successful. He said, look downtown. The businesses are thriving. The people are nice. It's clean. It's safe. It's very faith-based. From Tommy Fountain to Richard Bartish. Tommy's at 1025. Father Rich is at St. Albans. Todd at First Baptist. John Purrington at First Methodist. All these churches are just, they're growing, and they're very successful here. And I think it's, of course, it has to do with leadership of those churches, but I think it also has to do with just the types of folks who've lived in Monroe, who have lived here for generations, but also those that are coming. They want that clean slice of Americana. So, we pray for our troops. We pray before football games. We go to football games. We support our hometown teams, and we're going to be here for our schools. And you look at Walton County schools. The public schools are performing at a pace that they've never before seen. George Walton Academy is just doing an outstanding job growing, bringing Mark Whitley back with the athletic program, and then welcoming John Marshall as the new headmaster. Eli Connell, which a lot of folks don't know, the athletic director at Monroe area, he's a very good friend, I'd be willing to bet that he's the only athletic director in the state who actually teaches advanced calculus. Most athletic directors are like, well, I might teach some geography or history or something, but it's an intellect that I don't think we've ever before seen. And our kids are performing at a much higher level than they ever have. So to be able to, if you're wanting to get out of Rockdale, Newton, Gwinnett, Fulton, DeKalb, and Clark, which is Athens, a lot of folks want to go to Oconee. Nobody can afford Oconee anymore. So what's next? Well, we are, and I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled with that. But they want to go somewhere where they can have quality education, they can have quality church, they can have quality social time and events, but they can also have quality shopping with Publix. We now have Publix, Walmart, Quality Foods, and John Supermarket. John Supermarket, by the way, has one of the best beer selections this side of Athens, or this side of Atlanta, depending on which direction you're coming. And Greg Thompson's done just a great job over there. and quality health care. When Piedmont bought Clearview, Clearview was a failing hospital. And Piedmont Monroe, or Piedmont Walton, is now one of the top 10 hospitals in the state of its size. So why would you not want to be here?
One of the things you have to go out of town to purchase is liquor. Is there any plans for the city of Monroe to ever have a package store?
Do I need a liquor store? I really don't. I couldn't care less. But people do. And historically, you would have to get a certain number of signatures to get it on the ballot, to get package sales on the ballot. The governor signed something about a year ago that allowed councils to vote on it to put it on the ballot, which we did. 7-1 it passed, and I think Larry Bradley was the only one who was against it, and understandable. That's the way he feels. And something happened at Walton County to where it just didn't get put on the ballot. So the time lapsed, and we had to re-up. So went to put it on this following ballot, and I can't remember who made the motion, but it didn't even get a second and died. It'll come up again. I know it will. I get questions about that all the time, but if council doesn't see the need or have the urge to get that done, we'll just have to keep going to Walnut Grove or Loganville or Athens or Winder or Bethlehem. But yeah, just not here yet.
Up until recently, there were signs coming into the city limits that welcomed you to Monroe and had civic clubs signs on it, and they've all been taken up and removed. Can you tell us about that?
Two things. One, it was tacky. We have internet now, so if you want to find out what clubs we have in Monroe, you can go online and see it. The other thing, there were some signs that were dated. One was the Daughters of the Confederacy, the Sons of the Confederacy was one of the clubs, had the Confederate battle flag on it. Look, I love the South. I do. I grew up here, and I'm a Southerner. But I think that flag is offensive to many who may be coming to our area, and I want to be as welcoming as possible. And I really don't care what color you are. I don't care what race you are. I don't care your sexual orientation. If you're here to help make Monroe a better place, I want you here. I don't want to start by offending you the moment you drive into the entrance of our city. So those came down. Apparently we had 4 at one time. One of them might have gotten blown down decades ago, but we took the 3 down at the entrances to our city. I called the numbers on each one, and they all gave me the standard voicemail that the phone company leaves when the number no longer exists. So I figured there was nobody to call, so we just took them down. But we did. It took us 6 months because we had to figure out if it was legal for us to take them down. We wanted to make sure they were ours and they weren't on somebody's private property. So it took more than just a call one night saying, okay, take those signs down. But I think it's in the best interest of everybody who lives here.
Thank you so much, Mayor Howard, for taking the time to be on the podcast. That wraps it up for my almost nightly podcast. I'm Daryl Everidge. We'll see you next time.